Am I the butthole for refusing to cook meat when my husband broke our lonely daughter's only friendship because he hates vegans? Obligatory throwaway because I don't want angry vegans in my inbox. My husband is from the South, and let me just say this, he hates vegans. His family is a stereotypical country one, and they get ridiculously mad when they see Beyond Meat etc. adverts on the TV. They're practically vegan phobic and hate any menu which says suitable for vegetarians or vegans etc. This never really bothered me, and I thought it was funny because I ate meat and I didn't think it was a big deal. My daughter, now 6, was born allergic to a lot of things, like eggs, and is also intolerant to lactose and grass, pollen etc. She rarely got to go to birthday parties because we couldn't let her eat anything there. When she was a baby, my husband ate an egg sandwich and kissed her, and she broke out in hives and we had to take her to the doctor. All new foods were tried under medical supervision. While she can eat meat, she can't eat any fun meat like nuggets because of egg contact. One of the kids she recently met with is our new neighbor, who is around 4 houses away. They are completely vegan and their son doesn't eat anything they don't. So at his birthday she could eat the actual cake and not a muffin I'd sent. It cheered her up, and they had play dates even when we weren't supposed to. I was glad she made a friend. His parents hadn't called for a while and didn't pick up ours. When I saw his dad while I was out, I was like, hey, what's wrong? And he was really hostile, telling me to never talk to him or his wife again and that he'd pray for my daughter. I thought that was crossing the line. He pulled his phone out and showed me a very rude text from my husband. I didn't believe his story that my husband started a fight, but when I asked him about it, he was proud that Shalia wasn't hanging out with hippies. I remembered the vegan hate, and I was like, until he apologized to that family and they agreed to let their kid play with ours, I'd never cook meat again. He said I needed to get over it and do my job, but I am cooking, just not what he would like. Am I the butthole? NTA and what? A spouse telling me to do your job in reference to a household chore would put me right on strike. I wouldn't stop cooking meat for the guy, I'd stop cooking for him. He sounds like an objectively horrible person to be so callous toward your daughter's friendship and so proud of picking a fight and insulting others. Of course, the fact that you thought this kind of hatred was just sort of funny until it impacted your child makes me wonder a little about you. Edit. Thank you for the awards. I know better now. Unfortunately, I never took it seriously. Info. Why are you married to this guy? My husband's family are a bunch of redneck, meat-eating, hunting, country bumpkins, and I've never ever witnessed them being angry at a Beyond ad or a menu that says it has vegan options. I've never witnessed anyone acting like your husband and his family. Personally, I wouldn't want to raise a kid with someone who's so intolerant that they pick fights with neighbors over what they decide to eat in their own home. I literally thought this too. I know a lot of rednecks who would be angry about veganism or vegans. That's just weird. They'd 100% make fun of me if I came around and said I was vegan now, but then make sure I have food I could eat whenever I rocked up. That's how friendship is supposed to work. You make fun of your friends but learn how to cook food that they can eat. A guy that gets mad for advertising? He has issues. My friends make fun of me for being lactose intolerant but often help me find lactose-free foods or warn me if they aren't 100% sure. I'm celiac and have the same thing. My friends will joke about me being fussy, but still make sure we're eating somewhere with options for me. My mate and I tried a new place the other day, and even though he's one of the worst for joking about it, he messaged after to make sure that I wasn't having a flare-up and the place hadn't just been placating. Not the butthole for refusing to cook meat until your husband apologies, but I agree with other commenters saying you shouldn't have found his intolerance funny. I don't understand getting mad. Allergies and intolerances are dangerous. I literally can't breathe if I eat soy. The only intolerance Op's husband has is to vegans. I'm going out on a limb here and suggest there are likely loads of things that grind his gears. His ridiculous hate of vegans is just the one being talked about here. Also, it's his 6-year-old, highly allergic daughter he is supposed to be an advocate for. Hooray! One less situation in which we need to worry about our daughter eating something she isn't supposed to. When your own, uninformed and unwarranted, beliefs affect the well-being of your offspring, time to reevaluate your attitude. Jesus. Not the butthole, but your husband is a huge one. If she's allergic to both eggs and milk, she'll probably be eating a lot of vegan baked goods in her life, because those will already accommodate her allergies. Her friend's family could probably introduce you to a lot of food she can actually eat. I'm sure they would have loved to do so until Op's husband acted like a complete and utter jackass. Yeah, if I was their neighbor, I definitely wouldn't let me child go over their house. The views that husband had described to us are so weird, childish, and hate-fueled that I'd assume the worst of his other beliefs, which may not be fair, but sometimes you can't expend the energy to get to know the nuances of every butthole you meet. Like, even if husband apologizes, I'd still be wary of him. I hope Op's daughter gets to hang out at their house though. She is innocent in all this, and loneliness as a child is rough. As a parent, I definitely wouldn't allow my child around them unsupervised, but like you, I would likely allow the daughter over my house where I could monitor the kids' interactions. They'd 100% make fun of me if I came around and said I was vegan now, but then make sure I have food I could eat whenever I rocked up. That's real Southern hospitality right there. I know one person who will take any excuse she can find to crap on anything vegan, and she's a liberal from a major city. Recently, she turned into a virulent anti-masker, so really just a crafty person all around. I could have told you that. I think it takes a special type of odd to crap on people for willingly making a lifestyle choice to avoid contributing to a cruel and environmentally problematic industry. It's such a big red flag, and it makes me want to turn to them and say, well, in your opinion, what have you done to earn this sense of superiority you seem to have? What are you doing with your time on Earth, if not making it a little bit worse for everyone who inherits it, and everyone who has the misfortune of having to share it in close proximity with you? Coming from the South, most rednecks are super crass and super hospitable. Yep. My grandmother developed an allergy to meat from any animal that has hooves. Check out the Lone Star tick, it's pretty wild, and ever since my whole family, who has always had venison and pork/bacon and everything, has made a complete turnaround and changed all recipes to accommodate her allergy. For one person. Say what you want about the South, but the vast majority of people are super well-meaning and nice. Alpha gal. I'm a nurse, and alpha gal is by far one of the strangest allergy issues I've seen. Allergies in general are weird, but man, alpha gal is crazy. Side note. The allergy also involves medicines that are derived from animals with hooves, so heparin and its derivatives like enoxaparin, all porcine derived, are no-goes as well. Props to your family for taking it seriously and being willing to accommodate. I'm vegetarian, and 100%, that's been my experience. They all catered to me when I came around despite my best efforts to make sure they didn't have to. I bring my own food and cook my own stuff, and yet they'd still cook my food and set me stuff aside to make sure I could eat. I got poked fun of a ton, but they do it without a thought. In fact, when I left my ex, it was his family/friends who did this. They found it rather hard to stop setting my stuff aside. Surprisingly, my parents, who I no longer talk to for over a year now, have this mentality and think vegans are rude and ungrateful. These same type of people are the ones who shame me for having lactose intolerance and would hate on my husband for being an atheist. My friend, dyed-in-the-wool Republican, gets visibly angry at veganism. Hell, I'm a Republican and I still don't understand this. Why would you care what anybody else eats? They aren't forcing you to eat that way. Real answer on behalf of my conservative family, they feel like anything that represents a change is actually a challenge to a traditional way of life. Anything that's seen as less masculine, and for some stupid reason we've gender-coded meat as manly and vegetables and yogurt as womanly, is also seen as bad. For people who supposedly care about personal freedom so much, they sure don't care about them if they vary even slightly from their own. Let's call it what it is. Insecurity about their own lifestyle choices hidden behind authoritarian, controlling attitudes towards anyone who challenges their beliefs by living differently. That's dumb. Let people do their own thing. Again, they aren't forcing you to not live a traditional life, so who cares? I agree, but you and I are coming at it from a totally different perspective. Conservatives want to conserve something, right? They think they want to conserve an old way of life, that's really a golden age that never happened, so anything that's not that, especially something that's a challenge to masculinity and traditional ways of life, meat and potatoes family meals, is seen as an attack on their choices. They believe their way is best, and anyone who shows us something that isn't their way is clearly making a bad decision and trying to normalize something bad. I realize this might not be 100% correct for every conservative, but I'm trying to answer with empathy and understanding. And also, people are veg/vegan because of caring for animals, the environment and/or health. So they feel extra attacked because this makes them the bad guys. But let's be honest, they're the bad guys anyway, just not because they eat meat and dairy. Same reason they care about what music/media people consume, what others do in the bedroom, what tattoos and piercings someone has, and rights women have over their own bodies. Some people see anyone rejecting something they like as a judgment against them. It's like the people who feel the need to pressure people who don't drink to have a drink. In their mind, by refusing to drink, you are implying that drinking is wrong and therefore you are saying they are wrong for drinking. By not eating meat, you are implying that eating meat is wrong and thus they are wrong for eating it. They infer a judgment from you. And that makes them angry and defensive. I am also from a family of country bumpkins who eat a lot of meat and maybe don't understand people who are vegan, but they wouldn't pick a fight with random people. Not random people here, people who befriended his wife and daughter and who the daughter really liked and appreciated because she doesn't have to worry about dying if she eats something at their house. This guy is way beyond redneck and bumpkins. Right? I have a redneck cousin and I'm a gay trans man. Zero issues. He doesn't give a flying F about how people live their lives so long as you're not a prick. If my cousin and I were still close, I guarantee he'd poke fun and go over the line with using slurs and such, but in your family and I'd do anything for you and you know I'm just effing with you kind of way. If he did that and I had a problem with that, all I'd have to do is say I have a problem with that and he'd stop. Except the vegan family and your daughter. I've read your comments and you make so many excuses for your husband. You excused his hate for vegans and his behavior until it personally impacted you. I wonder what else you excuse because it hasn't personally impacted you. Your husband is an off for obvious reasons. Edit. Thank you to all who gave me awards. As someone with a butthole dad but an okay mom who still defends my dad, your daughter will start to hate you just as much for defending this behavior. My dad started making fun of depression after I talked about a suicidal friend in his earshot. When I mentioned him being such a butthole, my mom gave excuse after excuse. When I move out on a few months, I know I will not be talking to my dad anymore. And I also have half a mind to stop all contact with my mom as well because she never defended me. You will have the same outcome with your daughter. Stop him now if you want a relationship with her. Yeah, the wife is absolutely an enabler by apathy until it actually affected her. The daughter has a long and rough adolescence in store for her. My mom is the exact same way with my dad. Conveniently forgetting the times I told her he would hit me and my brother, saying that I'm remembering it wrong when she can't even remember something I told her 5 minutes ago. I feel your pain. I've been keeping her at arm's length for years. 100% agree. Her husband is a huge butthole with some seriously toxic and effed up views, yet she refuses to acknowledge it, instead letting him walk all over her and her daughter. It's obvious she's not TA for something being said to the other family she wasn't even aware of, but she is TA for continuing to stay with and validate her husband. I won't cook meat anymore is already an underreaction in this scenario, and I have zero faith after reading her comments that she'd even be able to follow through on that. Yeah, she needs to throw the dairy and the husband in the trash if she doesn't want to be a butthole. Yes. Why is she married to him? People like him just sound dumb. I'm sorry, but he goes big red-faced angry just because vegans exist? And actively and proudly shows his hatred about anything related to veganism like some protester? It's so ridiculous imagining him laughing my butt off. I don't understand. He said I needed to get over it and do my job, but I am cooking - old school views and values. It sounds like original post, and her husband very much fit the stereotypical 50s. A woman's job is to cook, clean and please her husband, and she is doing this by catering to his hateful views. He also has no issue with any of this because it benefits him and likely how they were both raised. I wouldn't be surprised if the whole neighborhood, if not county, is the same, given they're in the South. Not an excuse obviously, because I think but just a reminder that this still exists and can explain some really backwards attitudes. It's hard to break the mold in places like that. Seriously, it's so ignorant and gross to hate people for their diet choices. Unless they're pushing their choices/beliefs on you, which I know some vegans do, but the vast majority do not, you're just being a bigoted butthole. 1000%, agreed. The entire downvoted comment chain by this original post under BeckDog19's second highest voted comment is a testament to this entire thing. It was why a ton of people changed from not the butthole to ESH. The sort of person that original post is, not giving a damn about toxic behaviors and attitudes until it leaves a tangible effect on her day-to-day quality of life, shows that this incident is not an exception, but rather it would have been exceptional had it not happened. Bonus points for the excuses she makes for her husband's sexism in that same downvoted chain. Oh my goodness, thank you for putting this so succinctly. ESH, you didn't have a problem with your bully of a husband until your child had to suffer the consequences. You're just as pathetic as he is. Not just that, she didn't believe the neighbor until her husband confirmed it. What if her husband had lied and said he didn't say anything to them? Original post would have just accepted the belief that the neighbors were crazy. And original post now has the audacity to keep contacting them after being told not to. I feel bad for her daughter and the neighbors. This gets me also. She saw the text messages with her own eyes and then was like, nah, you're lying. They're both huge vagina. Underrated comment. The husband is clearly the biggest here, but I don't think anyone should be downplaying Op's passive acceptance of his bullying. It's only a problem now because her kid is affected. You can't be shocked when your intolerant bully of a spouse makes your kid the alienated one. I sure as hell wouldn't allow my child to play in a home where the parents thought this behavior was okay. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.